As you're no doubt aware, the fatal shooting of Mr. Alongo has gained international media coverage and sparked protest. In many ways, the response in San Diego County to this officer-involved shooting is reflective of a bigger picture and conversations that are happening across the nation. We're living in a time where the actions of police officers are under scrutiny more than ever, especially when it comes to police shootings. We're also at a time when we're expecting law enforcement to deal with the problems that society isn't effectively dealing with: mental health, drugs, poverty, and homelessness. The U.S. Supreme Court, in its ruling in Graham versus Connor, determined that the perspective that is the most critical under the law to our review in determining the actions of the law enforcement were whether or not they were legally justified is that of a reasonable officer and what they knew or reasonably believed at the critical time. In other words, what is reasonable is determined by not only what the officer says, but what all the physical evidence and witness statements prove. Without context, without all the facts and the evidence, without witness statements, incomplete narratives go viral in minutes before law enforcement has completed a full investigation. That said, I continue to believe that the public release of video evidence in cases like this is a positive step forward. The District Attorney's Office works to maintain open communication and good relationships with all of the communities we serve. We all have a role to play, and my role is to follow the law. The law is specific about how we are to evaluate actions of officers for possible criminal liability. It says that we must determine whether an officer reasonably believed his or her life or the lives of others were in danger. Again, that same Supreme Court case has ruled that the law recognizes that police officers are often forced to make split-second decisions in circumstances that are tense, uncertain, and rapidly evolving. These are the court's rules, not mine, words. As prosecutors, we have an ethical duty to follow the law and only charge individuals when we believe we have proof beyond a reasonable doubt. The officer-involved shooting of Mr. Alongo has been carefully reviewed by experienced prosecutors and investigators in our Special Operations Division. I also reviewed the evidence carefully, and along with the investigator and prosecutor handling the case, I personally visited the scene of the shooting, which helps me better understand and put into context the events as they unfolded. After carefully reviewing the facts, the evidence, and the law, we've determined the officer's use of deadly force was reasonable under the circumstances, and he bears no criminal liability for his actions. If one objectively examines the facts, the only reasonable conclusion is that the officer's actions were legally justified and understandable. I realize that this decision will upset some in the community. I understand the desire among some to voice their anger and disagreement over this decision. But it's also my genuine hope that people can direct anger into a constructive conversation that focuses on positive change. Law enforcement does not want fractured relationships with the community. We're all part of the community. The circumstances surrounding Alfred Alongo's death are tragic. His family has lost a son, a brother, a father, a husband. I don't take any sides but the side of justice, and taking that position often never pleases everyone. Moving forward, we will continue working with the community just as we always have.